You are bending over to pick up a dropped pen, or maybe you are just getting out of your car after a long drive. Suddenly, you feel it. It is not just a dull ache in your lower back. It is a sharp electric shock. A bolt of hot lightning that shoots from your lower back deep into your glute, tearing down the back of your thigh, past your knee, and sometimes all the way down into your calf and your toes. The pain is so sudden, so breathtakingly intense, that your leg almost gives out beneath you. You freeze. You try to shift your weight, but a burning sensation radiates down your leg. You are suddenly terrified to move. You limp to the couch, you lie down, and you think what millions of people think every single year. I just need to rest. I need to stay completely still until this heals. But what you do not realize is that lying on that couch for days on end is the absolute worst thing you can do for this specific type of pain. You are actively making the problem worse. You are starving your spine of the nutrients it needs to heal, and you are allowing a massive irritated nerve to become stiff and trapped. This is sciatica, and today you are going to learn exactly how to stop the burning, free the trapped nerve, and take your life back. Welcome. I am your doctor, Dr. Franklin Reed. If you are watching this, you are taking the most crucial, empowering step toward fixing one of the most agonizing physical conditions a human being can experience. We are completely throwing out the outdated advice of bed rest, heavy painkillers, and immediate surgery. Instead, you are getting the hard, medically accurate facts, completely aligned with the absolute highest standards of global orthopedic and physical therapy guidelines. As a doctor, I see patients completely incapacitated by this pain. And I want to make one thing very clear right now. Sciatica is not a life sentence. It is a mechanical problem in your body. And mechanical problems have mechanical solutions. Today, you are getting those solutions. You are getting the clear, proven, step-by-step movements and exercises that solve the problem of sciatic nerve pain by addressing the actual root cause, not just masking the symptoms. To truly fix this, you first have to understand exactly what is happening inside your body. You need to meet the enemy. And the enemy here is not your muscles. It is not your bones. It is a nerve, specifically the sciatic nerve. The sciatic nerve is not just any nerve. It is the longest and the thickest nerve in your entire body. To understand its size, imagine your thumb. The sciatic nerve is roughly as thick as your thumb. It does not start as one single cable. It begins as 5 separate nerve roots that branch out from your lower spinal cord, specifically from the 4th and 5th lumbar vertebrae and the first 3 sacral vertebrae. These 5 roots weave together deep inside your pelvis to form one massive, powerful nerve bundle. This giant nerve then exits your pelvis, traveling deep beneath the heavy muscles of your buttocks, the glutes. It runs straight down the back of your thigh. When it reaches the back of your knee, it splits into 2 smaller nerves that continue all the way down the back and the side of your calf, ending in your foot and your toes. The sciatic nerve is your body's main electrical cable for your lower half. It sends the signals that tell your leg muscles to contract so you can walk, run, and jump. And it carries the sensory signals back up to your brain, telling you what your leg is feeling. Because this nerve is so incredibly long, traveling from your spine all the way to your toes, there are multiple places along that journey where it can get pinched, compressed, or irritated. When that massive nerve gets pinched, it screams. And because the nerve travels down your leg, your brain perceives the pain as being in your leg, even if the actual pinch is happening all the way up in your spine. To stop the screaming, you have to find out where the pinch is happening. There are 3 main culprits. The first, and by far the most common cause of sciatica, is a herniated disc in your lower back. Think of the discs between your spinal bones like jelly donuts. They have a tough fibrous outer layer and a soft gel-like center that acts as a shock absorber. When you spend years slouching at a desk, lifting heavy objects with a rounded back, or sitting in traffic, you put massive, unequal pressure on the front of those discs. Over time, the tough outer layer weakens. Eventually, the soft jelly in the center pushes backward. It bulges out, or it completely breaks through the outer layer. When it pushes backward, it protrudes directly into the spinal canal. And what is sitting right there in the spinal canal? The roots of your sciatic nerve. The jelly presses directly against the nerve root, causing intense chemical inflammation and mechanical pressure. That is what shoots the lightning down your leg. The second cause is called spinal stenosis. This usually happens as we get older. Over decades of wear and tear, the spinal canal, the bony tunnel that protects your spinal cord and nerves, begins to narrow. Bone spurs can grow, ligaments can thicken, the tunnel shrinks, and the sciatic nerve roots get choked inside the tunnel. The third major cause happens further down the line. Remember how I said the sciatic nerve travels deep beneath your glute muscles? There is a specific small muscle deep in your buttock called the piriformis muscle. It helps your hip rotate outward. In some people, the sciatic nerve runs directly under this muscle. In a small percentage of people, it actually runs straight through the middle of the muscle. If that piriformis muscle becomes incredibly tight from sitting too long or spasms from overuse, it acts like a vice grip, crushing the sciatic nerve beneath it. This is called piriformis syndrome. So how do we fix it? How do we get the pressure off the nerve? The absolute worst thing you can do is lie in bed for a week. Your spinal discs do not have their own blood supply. They are like sponges. The only way they get oxygen, nutrients, and water is through movement. When you move, you create pressure changes that suck nutrients into the disc and pump waste products out. If you lie perfectly still, the disc starves. The inflammation pools around the nerve and becomes stagnant. Furthermore, the sciatic nerve itself needs to glide smoothly through your tissues. If you do not move, the nerve becomes stiff and can actually form microscopic scar tissue adhesions, tethering it to the surrounding muscles and making the pain much, much worse. You have to move. But you have to do the right movements. Before we begin the exercises, as your doctor, I must give you the medical red flags. There is a very specific condition called cauda equina syndrome. This happens when a massive disc herniation crushes the entire bundle of nerves at the very bottom of your spinal cord. This is a surgical emergency. If you experience sudden loss of control over your bowel or bladder, meaning you cannot hold your urine or you cannot feel yourself going to the bathroom, or if you experience numbness in your saddle area, the groin, the inner thighs, and the genitals, you must stop this video and go to a hospital emergency room immediately. That is not something you can stretch away. But if you are dealing with standard, agonizing, shooting sciatica pain down one leg, we can begin. We are going to attack this in 4 distinct phases: the extension principle, the nerve glide, the targeted release, and the core corset. Phase 1, the extension principle. If your sciatica is caused by a bulging or herniated disc, which is the case for the vast majority of people, we need to physically push that bulging disc material away from the sciatic nerve root. Because all of our modern activities involve bending forward, looking at phones, sitting at computers, driving, the discs are constantly being pushed backward into the nerves. We need to reverse that mechanic. We need to extend the spine to gently push the jelly back to the center of the donut. You will start by simply lying flat on your stomach on a firm surface, like a yoga mat on the floor, not a soft bed. Just lie face down with your arms resting at your sides and your head turned to one side. Focus on taking deep, slow breaths. Your lower back muscles will likely be in a state of severe spasm. You must consciously tell them to let go. Try to melt your hips into the floor. Stay in this prone position for 3 to 5 minutes. For some people in severe acute pain, just lying flat like this will be challenging, but it is the first step in restoring the natural curve of your lower back and taking pressure off the disc. If lying flat becomes comfortable, you progress to the prone prop. While still lying on your stomach, bring your elbows under your shoulders and gently lift your chest off the floor, supporting your upper body weight on your forearms. Keep your hips, your pelvis, and your legs completely relaxed and glued to the floor. Do not tense your glutes. You are creating a gentle backward arch in your lower spine. Hold this position for 30 seconds to a minute. Take deep breaths. As you exhale, let your lower back sag towards the floor. If that feels okay, we move to the full press-up, often called the Mackenzie press-up, named after the physical therapist who pioneered this mechanical approach. Place your hands flat on the floor, right beneath your shoulders, exactly like you were about to do a push-up. Keeping your hips and pelvis pinned heavily to the floor, slowly straighten your arms, lifting your chest and your abdomen off the ground. You are bending your lower back backwards. Go as far as your pain allows. You do not need to lock your elbows out if it is too painful. Hold the top position for 2 seconds, and then slowly lower yourself back down. You are going to perform 10 repetitions of this press-up. Here is the critical medical rule for this exercise. You are looking for a phenomenon called centralization. If you start the exercise with pain shooting all the way down to your calf, and after 5 press-ups, the pain in your calf disappears, but your lower back feels a little more sore, you are winning. The pain is retreating up the leg, back toward the center of the spine. That means the pressure is coming off the sciatic nerve. Centralization is the ultimate sign of healing. If, however, the press-ups make the pain shoot further down your leg, into your foot, stop immediately. That means extension is not the right mechanic for your specific anatomical issue. Phase 2, the nerve glide. Once we have taken the pressure off the nerve root at the spine, we need to deal with the nerve itself. The sciatic nerve is like a thick piece of dental floss running through the tissues of your leg. When it gets inflamed, it gets sticky. It stops sliding smoothly when you bend your knee or your hip. It gets snagged. To fix this, we do not stretch the nerve. Nerves hate being stretched. Stretching an inflamed nerve is like pulling an angry rubber band. It will just snap back and hurt more. Instead, we floss it. We pull it gently from one end while releasing tension at the other, sliding it back and forth through the tissue to break up adhesions and reduce inflammation. This is called a sciatic nerve glide. Find a firm chair. Sit on the edge of the seat with your chest up and your posture perfectly straight. Let both of your feet rest flat on the floor. We are going to floss the nerve in the affected leg. First, slump your upper back forward and drop your chin down to your chest. You are now putting tension on the spinal cord at the top of your neck. Now, slowly straighten your painful leg out in front of you. As you straighten the knee, pull your toes back toward your shin. This pulls the sciatic nerve tight from the bottom. Here is the secret to flossing. You cannot pull from both ends at the same time. If your leg is straight and your toes are pulled back, you must lift your chin up and look at the ceiling. By looking up, you give the nerve slack at the top, allowing it to slide down toward your leg. Then reverse the motion. Point your toes away from you and bend your knees slightly to give the nerve slack at the bottom. As you do that, drop your chin back down to your chest to pull the nerve back up toward your spine. Look up and pull the toes back. Look down and point the toes away. You are gently pulling the nerve back and forth, like a rope through a pulley. Perform this smooth, continuous motion 15 times. It should not be painful. You might feel a gentle tugging or a strange sensation down the back of your leg, but you should not push into sharp pain. Do this glide 3 times a day. You are physically lubricating the nerve pathway and teaching the nerve that it is safe to move again. Phase 3, the targeted release. If your sciatica is being caused by that tight piriformis muscle deep in your glute, we need to release that specific muscular trap. We need to stretch the muscle without overstretching the angry sciatic nerve beneath it. Lie flat on your back on your mat. Bend both knees so your feet are flat on the floor. Take the ankle of your painful leg and cross it over the knee of your good leg. Your legs should look like they are forming the number 4. Now, reach both of your hands down and grab the back of the thigh of your good leg. Slowly and gently pull that thigh toward your chest. You will immediately feel a deep, intense stretch in the buttock of your painful leg. That is the piriformis muscle finally being forced to lengthen. Hold this stretch for 30 to 45 seconds. Take slow, deep breaths. Every time you exhale, try to pull the thigh just a fraction of an inch closer to your chest. You are forcing the muscle fibers to relax, which literally opens up the physical space for the sciatic nerve to breathe. Release the stretch slowly. Repeat it 3 times on the painful side, and do it once on the good side just to maintain balance in your pelvis. Another excellent targeted release is the knee to opposite shoulder stretch. Still lying on your back with your legs straight, bend the knee of your painful leg. Grab that knee with both hands and gently pull it across your body toward your opposite shoulder. If your right leg is hurting, pull your right knee toward your left shoulder. You will feel this stretch slightly higher up in the glute complex. Again, hold for 30 to 45 seconds. Do not bounce. Bouncing triggers a stretch reflex in the muscle that actually makes it contract tighter. Steady, constant, gentle pressure is the only way to lengthen the muscle and free the nerve. Phase 4. The core corset. Once you have pushed the disc back into place, flossed the nerve, and stretched the tight muscles, you have to stabilize the entire system so it does not just collapse and pinch the nerve again the second you stand up. You must build a muscular corset around your spine. But you cannot do sit-ups or crunches. Sit-ups force your lower back to repeatedly bend forward under tension. That is the exact mechanism that herniates discs in the first place. Doing crunches to fix sciatica is like throwing gasoline on a fire. Instead, we use stabilization exercises that train your core muscles to lock your spine into a neutral, safe position while your arms and legs move. The gold standard for this, universally recommended by spinal experts, is the bird dog. Get down on the floor on all fours, on your hands and knees. Your hands should be directly under your shoulders and your knees directly under your hips. Your back should be perfectly flat, like a tabletop. Imagine a glass of water resting on your lower back. You cannot let it spill. First, brace your stomach. Imagine someone is about to punch you in the gut and you tighten your abdominal muscles to take the hit. Hold that tightness. Now, slowly raise your right arm straight out in front of you, while simultaneously extending your left leg straight out behind you. Do not arch your lower back to get your leg higher. Your heel should not go higher than your hip. The goal is length, not height. Reach your fingers to the wall in front of you and push your heel to the wall behind you. Hold that fully extended, braced position for 5 to 10 seconds. You will feel the muscles deep along your spine and in your glutes working furiously to keep your balance. Slowly bring your hand and knee back to the floor. Now repeat on the other side. Left arm forward, right leg back. Brace the core, hold for 5 to 10 seconds, and return. Perform 10 repetitions on each side. This exercise is incredibly powerful because it recruits the multifidus muscle, a deep, tiny muscle that runs along your spine and acts as the primary stabilizer for your vertebrae. When the multifidus is strong, the vertebrae do not shift, the discs do not bulge, and the sciatic nerve stays safe. Another phenomenal stabilization exercise is the dead bug. This is essentially the bird dog flipped upside down, which makes it safer if your lower back is currently highly sensitive to gravity. Lie flat on your back. Raise both arms straight up toward the ceiling. Bend your knees to 90 degrees and raise your legs so your shins are parallel to the ceiling. You look like a dead bug lying on its back. The most critical part of this exercise happens before you even move. You must flatten your lower back completely into the floor. There should be absolutely no gap between your spine and the mat. Brace your core. Now, slowly lower your right arm straight back toward the floor behind your head, while simultaneously extending your left leg straight out until your heel hovers 1 inch above the ground. As you lower your arm and leg, your lower back is going to desperately want to arch up off the floor. Your job, your only job in this exercise, is to use your abdominal muscles to fight that arch and keep your back glued to the floor. Hold the extended position for 2 seconds, then slowly return to the starting position. Switch sides. Left arm back, right leg out. Keep the back flat. Return. Do 10 repetitions on each side. By forcing your core to stabilize your spine against the leverage of your moving limbs, you are building an impenetrable shield of muscle around your vulnerable discs. Now that you know what to do, we must talk about what you must absolutely avoid. The things you do during the other 23 hours of the day can completely undo all the healing you achieve during your exercises. First, stop stretching your hamstrings. This is the most common mistake patients make. When they feel a tight, burning pain down the back of their leg, they assume their hamstring muscle is tight. So they stand up, lock their knees, and bend over to touch their toes. When you do a forward fold toe touch, you are doing 2 terrible things simultaneously. You are putting massive forward bending pressure on your lower spinal discs, squeezing the jelly backward into the nerve. And you are putting maximum physical stretch tension on an already inflamed sciatic nerve. You are literally pulling the nerve tight against the bulging disc that is crushing it. It is the perfect storm for aggravating sciatica. Leave your hamstrings alone until the nerve pain is completely gone. Second, evaluate how you sit. Sitting places more pressure on your lower spinal discs than standing or walking. If you spend 8 hours a day sitting in a soft, deep couch, that allows your lower back to round out like a letter C, you are constantly feeding the injury. You need to sit in firm chairs with excellent lumbar support. Use a small lumbar roll or even just a rolled up towel placed in the small of your lower back to maintain that natural inward curve of your spine. If you work at a desk, stand up every 30 minutes. You do not even have to walk around. Just stand up, put your hands on your hips, and lean backwards gently 5 times to reset the disc pressure. Third, be incredibly careful with how you lift things, even light things. When your sciatic nerve is inflamed, your spine is in a compromised state. Do not bend at the waist to pick up a dropped shoe. Hinge at your hips, push your glutes backward, keep your spine perfectly straight, and use the massive muscles of your legs to do the work. You need to have realistic expectations about the timeline of your recovery. Sciatica does not disappear overnight. A severely inflamed nerve takes time to calm down. The biological process of a bulging disc slowly retracting or being resorbed by the body's immune system takes weeks and sometimes months. In the first few days of starting this routine, your goal is simply to dial down the intensity of the shooting pain. Remember the centralization phenomenon. If the pain stops shooting into your calf and instead just aches in your buttock or your lower back, you are making phenomenal progress, even if the backache is annoying. Consistency is the ultimate medicine here. Doing these exercises once on a Sunday will not fix a mechanical problem you spent 5 years creating. You need to perform the extension press-ups, the nerve glides, the stretches, and the core stabilizers every single day. Make it a non-negotiable part of your morning or evening routine. You must listen to your body. There is a profound difference between the dull, burning ache of a muscle working hard and the sharp, electrical shooting pain of a nerve being pinched. Never push into sharp shooting nerve pain. If an exercise makes the lightning bolt shoot down your leg, stop. Adjust your position, reduce your range of motion, or skip that specific exercise for the day. As a doctor, my ultimate goal, my absolute purpose, is to get this critical medical information into your hands before you feel so hopeless that you agree to an unnecessary surgery or resign yourself to a life of pain pills. Today, you got that information. You are now armed with the best, most rigorously tested biomechanical protocols available in modern physical medicine. By watching this, by understanding the anatomy of the nerve, the mechanics of the disc, and the precise physics of the exercises, you have solved the problem of sciatica. You are no longer a passive victim to mysterious leg pain. You are in control of your own recovery. But out there, in the world, there are millions of people who still do not know a single thing you just learned. They are lying on their couches right now, resting, getting stiffer, letting their discs starve, and wondering why the pain is getting worse. They are trying to touch their toes and crying out in agony because they do not know they are stretching an angry nerve. They are looking for a magical pill to fix a mechanical problem. You have the power to stop that cycle of suffering for someone you care about. Do not let this information sit idle. Send this video to your father who complains about his bad back every time he gets out of his truck. Share it with your friend who sits at a computer for 10 hours a day and constantly rubs her hip. Send it to anyone you know who has ever complained about a shooting pain down their leg. It costs absolutely nothing to share this knowledge. It takes 5 seconds to send a link. But that simple action could genuinely, literally give them their life back. It could be the reason they finally get off the couch. It could be the reason they stop doing sit-ups. It could be the reason they fix their spine without ever setting foot in an operating room. Arm yourself with facts. Arm your family with knowledge. Move your body the way it was designed to be moved. Respect your spine and take control of your health. Thank you for taking your physical well-being seriously, and I will see you in the next one.